Welcome back to Ultimate Movie Recaps. Thanks for supporting us. Today I am showing a 2018 American superhero film titled Aquaman. Watch out for the spoilers, just enjoy and take care. The film begins on an extremely turbulent night in 1985. Thomas Curry, the Beacon Guardian, finds an oblivious injured lady on the shore. He saves her and carries her to his home. She was still in shock when she restores her senses and immediately attacks him, then smashes a TV with her trident in the other room and loses her consciousness. The following day, she awakes to figure out that Thomas has proactively recuperated her injuries. She later swallows a fish when she sees it in the aquarium. At that moment Thomas comes in and acquaints himself with her, where she uncovers that her name is Atlanta, the princess of Atlantis, and the two start to like one another. Thomas and Atlanta spend the following couple of years together, and they become guardians to a child named Arthur. Everything appears to be beautiful until one day a group of Atlantean soldiers burst into Atlanta's home determined to take her back under the request of King Orvax. Atlanta retaliates and successfully beats all the soldiers down. Then, at that point, she briefs Thomas that she should get back to Atlantis or else the king will send more reinforcements, yet before leaving she gives him the trident to give to Arthur when he attains adulthood and guarantees him of returning one day. Then she bounces into the sea. A couple of years later, we see Arthur as a child on a school field excursion to the Boston Aquarium. He is seen conversing with a fish, and two domineering jerks begin to insult and deride him for it. A shark then, at that point, begins beating on the glass, breaking it marginally and terrifying every other person. Arthur puts his hand on the glass, and unexpectedly the shark quiets down. Everyone there watches in surprise as all the sea creatures assemble right behind Arthur and his eyes sparkle yellow. After 20 years, a group of pirates drove by Jesse Kane and his child David take control of a Russian submarine after overpowering all the men on board. The pirates find that something has crashed into them. It uncovers to be Arthur, who is presently a grown-up referred to by quite a few people as Aquaman. He lifts the submarine to the surface, then advances inside it and starts fighting with the pirates and overwhelms all of them. Furthermore, David joins the fight and starts battling Arthur, who gets the upper hand. Before Arthur could kill David, Jesse meddles and fires an RPG at Arthur. Jesse thinks he has killed him, however, Arthur gets himself, totally unscratched. Then he fights back by penetrating Jesse in the shoulder with a steel pipe. Jesse attempts to shoot Arthur while he was leaving, however, he misses him and makes an opening in the submarine. Immediately, the water begins to leak in, he likewise gets stuck under a torpedo. David frantically attempts to free his dad and argues for Arthur's assistance, yet he declines to save him, saying those two have killed innocent people. David keeps attempting to free his dad, who knows his time is practically up and takes out a grenade before requesting David to get out and avenge by killing Arthur. David moves out of the submarine as he hears his dad set off the explosive. He moves away in one more submarine while Arthur protects the other Russian crew members. Later he joins his dad, who was looking for Atlanta on the docks as he normally did during the previous years. The two go to a bar where they see a news report of Aquaman's heroics. Thomas knows it was Arthur. He feels pleased with his child and reminds him how he is intended to join both the surface world and the realm of Atlantis. Then a group of bikers approach Arthur, apparently searching for a battle, however, they as a matter of fact simply want to take pictures with him. Down in Atlantis, Arthur's stepbrother Orm is with Arthur's coach Nuidus Vulko as they plan to meet King Nereus of Zebul. Orm believes that Nereus should form a coalition with him in an alleged work to join the other kingdoms of the sea, yet Orm truly wants an excuse to strike the surface world, believing they could strike Atlantis first. Nereus is additionally mindful of Arthur's presence, but Orm declines him as his half-brother or the fact that her mother lived with surface inhabitants. At that very moment, an impact hits that area, and a submarine comes in for an assault. Orm and Nereus gather together their powers to strike back, and Orm succeeds to send the submarine smashing to the bottom of the ocean. Nereus is then persuaded to favor him as they get ready to send a message to the surface. Later on, that evening, while Arthur and his dad were leaving the bar, Princess Mara, the daughter of Nereus, approaches him and cautions him that Orm is intending to take up arms against the surface and billions of individuals will bite the dust on the two sides. Arthur doesn't appear to be intrigued, even as Mara lets him know that Vulko has tracked down a way to find the missing trident of Atlan, which can be utilized to overcome Orm and permit him to claim his place as king of Atlantis. However, Arthur denies, saying, "If Orm assaults, I will treat him the very same way your people treated my mom, with no benevolence." At the same time, in the North Sea, Orm and his commandos meet David. He gives him a sack loaded with gold coins, however, David says, "I needn't bother with your money, I need Aquaman." Furthermore, From here we understand that Orm was the person who hired David and his dad to snatch the submarine to use it as an excuse to strike the surface world. Meanwhile, a huge tidal wave was heading toward the mainland, as Arthur was driving his dad home. He attempts to keep away from it by driving quick, however, it strikes their truck and pulls him out. He swims back searching for his dad, however, he was unable to track down him. Abruptly Mara appears and rescues him. She manages to get Thomas out of the water and assists him to inhale after pulling the water off his body. Then they all gander at the shore where we can see all the warships and submarines squashed there. Mara lets Arthur know this is only the beginning. Immediately Arthur acknowledges to join her to stop Orm. The two head toward a cliffside to plunge into the sea, the same spot where Vulko instructed Arthur on how to swim and dominate his Atlantean instincts. Arthur and Mara leap into the ocean, then ride her watercraft. For the first time Mara shows him Atlantis and takes him to a submerged ship to meet Vulko, who lets Arthur know that the legend of Atlan's trident is genuine, possessed by founding King Atlan, and it was made from sturdy steel, intended to permit somebody qualified to rule over Atlantis. Later, he informs him about Atlantis, the city which flourished on the surface and made great innovative technological progressions. However, their drive for supremacy eventually brought their destruction, and Atlantis sunk to the bottom of the sea. However, their progressions also helped Atlanteans to develop and inhale submerged, while others relapsed and changed into monstrosities. Then Atlan gets deported for the rest of his life. Vulko gives Arthur and Mara a cylinder to locate the last resting spot of Atlan, just before they were attacked by soldiers. Mara and Vulko escape while Arthur battles them and successfully beats a few warriors. However, one more impressive group drove by Merc shows up and catches Arthur. Arthur is brought before Orm, where he meets his sibling for the first time. Orm imagines that his mom was executed for bearing a kid from the surface and faults Arthur for her death. He also explains his position and disdain for the surface world because of the suffering they have caused to the oceans. Then, at that point, he offers to allow Arthur to leave and stay away forever. However, Arthur moves him for a clash. Regardless of protests from Vulko and Mara, Orm acknowledges. Arthur gears up for the fight, using his mom's trident. In the meantime, Orm gives his betrothed Mara a wristband which belonged to his mom Atlanta. On the other hand, Vulko inquires whether could he recollect all that he trained him. Then a flashback shows Vulko teaching him how to utilize his mom's trident, then, at that point, shows him a move that appropriately makes a kind of water shield. Youthful Arthur thinks that Atlanta deserted him since she didn't love him or his dad. However, Vulko reveals to him that she was executed by being fed to the animal of the trench. In the present, Arthur heads to the Ring of Fire, where the clash begins before a group of individuals, many of them favoring Orm, and calling Arthur a traitor. Arthur puts on a decent presentation of power against Orm, who endeavors to drag him down into the magma to kill him, yet Arthur escapes. Then, at that point, Orm uses his trident to obliterate Arthur's trident. Mara intercedes and removes Arthur from the field before Orm can strike a deadly blow. The two get away in her watercraft. Orm and his men follow them and destroy their boat, yet Arthur and Mara escape and Orm accepts that they were killed. But the two stow away in the mouth of a whale that Arthur summons so it can take them somewhere safe over the surface. Later, Orm figures out that Mara is alive and knows her location with the bracelet he had given it to her earlier. He directs his commandos to track down them and kill them. However, Nereus forces Orm to guarantee that Mara is brought back securely, or else he will not uphold him. Orm then goes to contact David and permits him to lead the commandos to track down Arthur and Mara, and he outfits him with Atlantean weaponry to guarantee that David could kill Arthur and Mara. David does some adjustments to the weapons to suit him perfectly. In the interim, Arthur and Mara get onto a plane to take them to the desert, and they leap out without any parachutes. Mara lets Arthur know that the desert was once covered by the sea, and they stroll until they tumble into an opening that carries them to an old sanctuary where Atlan's trident was hidden. Mara puts the cylinder down on a round platform. However, nothing occurs until she understands that it should be initiated with water. Subsequent to doing as such, it initiates a holographic message from Atlan with directions on how to find the trident. Arthur then observes a bottle with a chart inside that lets them know their next stop is in Sicily, Italy. On the other hand, Orm meets with the Fisherman King, trying to persuade him to join forces. However, the king declines, and Orm kills him before his wife and daughter. Then he commands them to set up the military for the war and sit tight for his orders. As of now, Arthur and Mara show up in Sicily, where they momentarily enjoy the activities with the surface denizens. Arthur gives red blossoms to Mara, who thinks of them as food and eats it. Then, they notice a spot among the sculptures of past leaders. Arthur sorts it out by placing the bottle in the hand of the sculpture of Romulus, according to Atlan's message. When he puts it there, Arthur and Mara see the way to find the trident's location. At the same time, David, who is presently calling himself Black Manta, accompanies his commandos and assaults them. He fires a laser from his helmet. Mara takes on the commandos while Arthur battles Black Manta. She kills off a couple and completes the rest by manipulating red wine and utilizing it as a weapon to kill them. Arthur successfully sends Black Manta flying and accidentally shoots himself with his own laser before he falls into the sea. Then Mara hurries to help Arthur, and she also understands how Orm had the capacity to follow them. From that point onward, she treats Arthur's injuries and the two sail to the trench. He tells her how he feels responsible for David and turning him into his adversary after declining to save his dad. Arthur says he isn't qualified to be a chief nor a king, but Mara negates his assumption and says he is a bridge between the man and sea. Back in Atlantis, Orm is arranging his intrusion of the surface with his recently joined clans. He figures out that Vulko was neutralizing him and commands his men to detain him. As they sail through a hurricane, Arthur and Mara get attacked by monstrous animals present in the channel. They retaliate, yet a huge horde shows up and obliterates the boat, compelling them to hop in the water. At that very moment, it appears as if they were killed. They are pulled out of danger by a strange creature, who brings them profound into the channel and up into a tropical chamber with breathable air. It uncovers to be Atlanta. Arthur hugs his mother for the first time after many years. He also tells her how Thomas has been waiting for her all these years. Atlanta tells Arthur and Mara how she got away from her execution and has been abandoned in an unfamiliar sea. She informs Arthur that the trident is situated just behind the nearby cascade and only the real king can enter and emerge with the trident. Arthur enters and sees the spear shining on a dais. Out of nowhere, he encounters the Karaten, a massive beast that protects the trident. Arthur attempts to take the spear, however the Karaten hits him, then he utilizes his powers to convey with her, something that Atlan was capable of. The Karaten asks Arthur what makes him deserving of using the trident. He says he isn't commendable and he just needs to save the two worlds. The Karaten gets persuaded and permits Arthur to take the trident from Atlan's skeleton, giving him more significant power and a new attire of gold and green. Returning to Atlantis, Orm proclaims himself as the Ocean Master and his forces accumulate to send off their attack on the surface. A fierce battle starts as Arthur and Mara lead their own powers of ocean creatures, including the Karaten, to retaliate and curb Orm's army. The animals take out Orm's men, driving the other Atlanteans to repudiate their dedication to him. Orm then, at that point, battles Arthur, and this time, Arthur forces Orm to the surface to battle on his familiar turf. Arthur uses the trident's capacity for his potential benefit, then by utilizing Vulko's move he manages to beat Orm and breaks his trident, leaving him on his knees. Arthur chooses to leave Orm's life, even as he requests to be killed. Meanwhile, Atlanta ascends from the sea to welcome Orm and the two hug. Vulko orders the commandos to capture Orm, and he goes enthusiastically. Arthur advises Orm that he will talk to him when he is prepared. The Atlanteans then acknowledge Arthur as their new lord. While Thomas was going to the docks once again, he just gets amazed by Atlanta, who at last gets back to him. In the last scene of the film, David is seen to be alive, and he is found by Stephen Shin, a conspiracy scientist fixated on Atlantis and Aquaman. At that point, when David awakens, he finds Stephen looking at the Atlantean weapon. David offers to show him how it functions, assuming he assists him with figuring out how to kill Aquaman. Thanks for watching.